I'll go, I've traveled. What the hell is this place? Sunshine, beach, and immortals. Oh no, it's a terrifying sea spirit beast. 1 second I was working overtime to finish the design draft, but the next second I turned into a baby. This world is so eerie, there are actually 2 moons in the sky. It's so cold. I'm about to hiccup. Who will save me, a pitiful creature that has wandered aimlessly to another world. Keywords of the novel. No pop-up window for Animal Becoming a God. Download the complete collection of Animal Becoming a God TXT, and read the latest chapters of Animal Becoming a God. Chapter 1. Babies with Horn. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Babies with Horn. Whenever we open a biography and want to review the course of history, we always see in the works of the victorious side that the texts depicting how heroic the victorious soldiers were, but we cannot see how many crazy foreign bones were buried. Epilogue 36 of Chapter 4 of the Chronicles of the Galactic Empire. A record of the Qin dynasty's late expedition to the north, in the late spring of the year 227 in the Gregorian calendar of the Gallo Empire, in the coastal area of the southern region of the empire. It is now early April. 2 round moons hang in the sky, one blue and one yellow, reflecting countless refracted light waves in the seawater. There is a village by the seaside, with several tall coconut trees growing faintly. Near the village, there are organized soldiers patrolling and guarding the village in groups of 3. Some of them are wearing green armor, while others are wearing sea blue armor. They guard the village, but their eyes are all looking towards the seaside. And just as the soldiers were repeating their patrol duties and stepping forward had already formed a conditioned reflex, a seemingly exhausted scout rushed towards the village, as if using all his strength to nurse. Due to the excessive speed of arm swinging and the rapid pace, the armbands on the arms split in half as the arms continued to swing. The originally sturdy brim of the hat also collapsed, appearing to be running from an extremely distant place and sweating profusely. When the scout ran up to the patrol, he supported his thighs with both hands, panting continuously from the scout's mouth, and his lungs were constantly inhaling and exhaling like a perforated bellows. The patrol soldier quickly lightly patted the scout's back, occasionally helping him smooth his back, trying to make the scout stand straight. Another patrol soldier handed him a water bag and fed it to the scout's mouth to drink water for him. The scout soldiers waited until their breathing became less rapid, and less fluent phrases popped out of their mouths. I found a baby by the beach. Go quickly. Go report to General Chiao. Upon hearing this, the patrol soldiers were all stunned. Apart from the Sunbao camp and the Chasing Wind camp, which were stationed here in the southern region, there were no idle people around. As early as 10 years ago, they were dispatched here by the newly crowned Emperor Gallo Chen. It can be said that for 10 years, apart from the constantly invading sea creatures along the coastline, there were few strangers seen here. I'm going to report General Chiao Liang, take care of this colleague. The patrol soldier named Xiao Liang nodded in response, and the patrol soldier ran all the way into the village. Not long after, a sturdy but somewhat hunchbacked old man walked out of the village wearing a set of casual clothes and leaning on a cane. He fixed his gaze on the scout and bent over to the scout. The scout soldiers quickly knelt down on one knee and saluted. I remember your name is Xiaomin, right? Where did you find the baby? Take me there. General, I am Xiaomin. I know where I am. I will take you there. Xiao Wei, summon the thunder-swallowing leopard and give him a ride. Obey me. Xiao Wei and General Qiao summoned the thunder-swallowing leopard from their spiritual knots, with yellow fur all over, a purple neck mane, and a 4-fold thunder pattern between their foreheads and brows. The 4 claws were shrouded in electrical clouds, and their tails kept fluctuating in the air. The hair at the end of the tail exploded, and their waist and abdomen were extremely thin, but their limbs were extremely strong. So, guided by Scout Xiaomin's direction, he arrived at the beach and indeed found a child sleeping on a finely crafted square cloth with a spindle-shaped gemstone the size of an adult fist. General Chiao jumped off the leopard and stepped forward, crouching to look at the baby on the square cloth. I reached out and touched the child's forehead, which was a bit hot. It should have been infected by the sea breeze for a long time and had a cold and burning sensation. When I rubbed my calloused hand over my forehead, I found a bump on the right side of the baby's forehead, at the upper end of the eyebrow arch. General Chiao opened his eyes and carefully looked at the baby's forehead. There was indeed a bulge, which looked like a horn. Who abandoned the baby here? If the scouts hadn't found him early, I'm afraid the sea spirit beasts along the coast would have eaten him as a dim sum. General Chiao pondered in his heart, his fingertips constantly touching the baby's forehead bulge. After thinking about it, General Chiao picked up the baby and said to Chiao Min, "You did a great job. You have fulfilled the duty of a scout soldier. Tomorrow, go to Director Yang's spirit beast garden and contract a dragon horse to chase the wind. You don't have to run away on your own in the future. Xiao Wei, please put away the square cloth and the gemstone on the ground, send Xiao Min back to the scout post, and then send the square cloth and gemstone to Yang Shuqi." Obedience. Xiao Wei's reply was always so strict, and his attitude was also serious and firm. "General Xie. General Xie." Xiao Min was very clever and looked at General Chiao with one hand marching salute, his eyes firm and not flickering. General Chiao summoned the thunder-swallowing leopard upon seeing the situation, wrapped one hand around the baby's chest, and the other hand around the neck of the thunder-swallowing leopard. He bent down and returned to the village. The speed of swallowing thunder leopards was extremely fast, and they rushed back to the village in no time. General Chiao withdrew the thunder-swallowing leopard from his body and walked quickly to the clinic. Under the cover of night, the courtyard felt very humid. General Chiao forced his voice into a line and shouted into the clinic, "Dr. Chui, open the door quickly. I found a baby by the seaside, he may have a fever." The door quickly opened, revealing a middle-aged man with disheveled clothes, a delicate eyebrow, a firm nose bridge, exposed collarbones and neck, and fair skin. He looked at the baby that Mr. Chiao was holding in his hand, and his gaze returned to General Chiao's face, with a puzzled expression on his face. The voice line emitted was also soft and slender, unlike a male voice. "Mr. Chiao, you came so late because of this baby. Can't this be abandoned by any soldier in your two barracks?" "I don't know yet. I will investigate one by one tomorrow morning. The top priority is to ask Dr. Chui to treat him. He should have been frozen by the sea breeze." Dr. Chui took the baby brought by General Chiao and entered the room, closing the door. After checking the child's physical signs for a while, he said to General Chiao, "Let the soldiers prepare toad bead grass, cicada saliva, and clear mushroom. Toad bead grass is a grass with 9 fruits, cicada saliva is a flat transparent crystal, and clear mushroom is a fat flat-headed mushroom with an orange core that slowly turns yellow when the mushroom bowl is filled." After a pause, Dr. Chui continued, "You need to be fast, otherwise this doll may burn its head and turn into dementia." General Chiao became anxious upon hearing this and rushed out of the door, shouting loudly, "Sunbao camp, chasing the wind camp, follow your orders." In the blink of an eye, a group of soldiers rushed from all directions, expressionless and standing straight, waiting for the general's command. "Go find the 3 medicinal herbs chanju grass, cicada saliva, and clear mushroom, quickly." End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Unexpectedly an Idiot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Unexpectedly an idiot. That night, soldiers from the Sun Leopard camp and the Chasing Wind camp went out to search for these 3 herbs. After several twists and turns, they finally bought a few bundles. With the help of Dr. Chui's urging to refine the elixir with elixir fire, they soon made a fever-reducing elixir and fed it to the child. Originally, all the soldiers in the battalion were delighted that the abandoned baby had received timely treatment, and even took turns visiting. General Chiao's daughter-in-law, Yang Shuqi, also occasionally brought her granddaughter to visit the baby. But soon everyone felt that this baby might be an idiot. Because he neither cries nor makes noise, and he doesn't even need adults to pick him up and coax him to sleep. His diet is particularly regular, and he is very obedient when feeding his servants. He eats with his mouth open and maintains a good habit of sleeping on time. He listens attentively to the discussions of adults and is very energetic every day. However, besides cooperating with everyone to feed and water, and carrying him to the toilet, this child also excreted, but he never made any sound. Anyone who is a normal person, even a deaf mute, will make a squeaking sound to attract the attention of adults around them. But this baby remained silent and never spoke. The only thing I do every day is to watch the servants and soldiers in front of me, as well as General Chiao's family come into the house to visit me. In the eyes of adults, the baby's gaze was too dull, as if it had penetrated the body and looked out the window and outside the door. Within a few weeks after treatment, the baby would still wet the bed, but later it became less common. Whenever someone visited him, he would point under himself. Adults see that this baby can express their inner thoughts with their limbs, so they pick up the baby and head to the restroom to use it. This move made Xiao Zhuang's servants and soldiers believe that this baby was not stupid, and even a bit clever. Until half a year later, everyone once again thought he was an idiot. Because he still remains silent, apart from expressing his thoughts through body language, he has never made any sound, as if he has not grown vocal cords and is unable to make any sound. In addition, keeping an empty gaze towards the distance, the servants were curious about what was in the distance at first, but over time they stopped looking out because there was nothing new outside. This incident had a particularly significant impact on Dr. Cui. Dr. Cui Tsubing, who had treated many princes and concubines in the imperial palace in his early years, was criticized behind the scenes due to the child's inability to speak, leading many to suspect that it was due to the urgent need for 3 herbs. For this matter, Dr. Cui has traveled countless times, coming over cursing and leaving incoherently. A child of his age was already able to learn language by this time, learning the pronunciation of adults in a certain way. Simple pronunciations could pop out of his mouth, such as dad, mom, grandpa, sister, rice, shshshsh, and other titles. However, this child seemed to have been cursed with aphasia by a spiritual mage. No matter how General Chiao, Yang Shuqi, and granddaughter Chiao Kursin teased him, his mouth became dry, his face twisted, and he didn't react much. He just looked straight at the adults, as if his gaze had passed through their bodies and looked into the distance. When the child was 1 year old, he was named Xiao Bang by General Chiao, hoping that he would govern and prosper the country. It was only after naming him that the child regained his senses and gazed at others, feeling lost in thought. At the age of 3, Xiao Bang still hadn't said a word. Yang Shuqi urgently summoned several famous local physicians, and also invited several well-known mages to come to the county town of Wanfeng City in Dinghai County to check whether Xiao Bang had been cursed, but no abnormalities were found. Perhaps everyone is tired and no longer persistent in making Chopin speak. Fortunately, since the age of 1.5, Chopin has learned to walk upright and move freely. But such a child, who doesn't cry, doesn't make noise, doesn't laugh, doesn't scream, and often foolishly looks into the distance. If it weren't for being an idiot, there wouldn't be any good vocabulary to describe it. At the age of 3 in the summer, Chopin was daydreaming in the yard when suddenly a lightning bolt fell from the sky and hit a crooked-necked tree in front of him. Chopin was frightened by the scene of the thick thunder enveloping the entire tree in front of him, and he fell backwards, shouting, lying down. The servants who were cleaning the courtyard were also shocked by this scene, and quickly picked up Chopin and sent him to the room. The other servants all rushed to fetch water and put out the fire. Before long, they realized that Chopin seemed to have spoken just now. The servants hurriedly ran to General Chiao and Yang Shuqi to report, which was a big news. It had been 3 years since they found Xiao Bang, and Xiao Bang actually spoke, although he didn't know what those 2 words meant. In the following days, General Chiao, who had not visited Xiao Bang much before, visited more frequently, so Yang Shuqi decided to stay in the house where Qiao Bang was. However, as usual, Chopin remained silent. But when General Qiao came to visit, there was a slight smile on his face. As she watched Yang Shuqi feed him food, she also smiled a little. Even Qiao Kursin, the granddaughter of General Qiao who occasionally came to visit him, Qiao Bang raised his lips to show a smile. In the 3 years he was picked up, Qiao Bang behaved like a low IQ and incompetent child, and overall, he looked like a less intelligent Yazzie. Since Chopin said lying trough, although the crooked neck tree was split in half by lightning, it still remains in the yard. General Chopin also arranged for many Enlightenment teachers to teach Chopin pronunciation and writing, trying to make Chopin learn at the same pace as his peers and not fall behind too much. But this Qiao Bang was able to write many good characters like a gourd painting gourd, with graceful handwriting, and a rich and light font. The rows of characters were arranged in an orderly manner, showing no sign of the level of writing that an idiot should have. The teaching teacher reported Qiao Bang's situation to General Qiao, but General Qiao was frustrated and made a mistake. The fact that this child can speak can be inferred from the mutual evidence of several servants, but why not say it now? Picking up the paper on which Chopin had written, he scrutinized it for a while and sighed. The person who can write such handwriting is actually a 3-year-old child. It's really unbelievable. 100 or so people from Qiaozhuang, who were originally confused about why Qiao Bang didn't speak, suddenly heard voices coming from Qiao Bang's room on a rainy day after Qiao Bang learned to write many words. Everyone gathered around to see what was happening inside the room. I saw Qiao Bang facing the window with his back to the door, looking out at the rain scene and reciting words. Although he couldn't understand the words he spoke, Chopin finally spoke up. This was the first time anyone had seen Chopin speak so many tones. What should I do on a rainy day? I miss you so much and dare not call you. I can't find the reason. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Understanding the World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Understanding the World. On the rainy day when Qiao Bang spoke, everyone finally witnessed Qiao Bang opening her golden mouth. Yang Shuqi reacted the most, crying with joy, and took Qiao Bang into her arms, her body constantly twitching. General Qiao rushed from the school field, wearing a silver armor. He took off his helmet and looked at Qiao Bang, who was tightly restrained by Yang Shuqi and couldn't breathe. He raised his hand to signal everyone to be quiet. From today on, Qiao Bang will be my godson of Qiao Anghua. The servants and soldiers present were stunned, and then they all cheered and jumped up. Qiao Bang received the highest treatment in his subsequent life. After being adopted as a godson by General Qiao, he really had to eat and stretch out his clothes. Despite this, Qiao Bang still felt depressed in his heart. No one outside knows that Chopin is actually a traveler. Qiao Bang's original name was Li Changel. In his past life, he worked as a graphic designer in the Sea Blue Star China Magic City. He worked tirelessly to create a corporate visual recognition system, but eventually collapsed on his computer desk due to angina, bidding farewell to this beautiful world. When he woke up again, he found himself carried by a middle-aged man to the beach and abandoned him. I have become a little doll, with thin arms and legs that lack strength. I can only look up at the sky and watch the waves crashing on the beach. The rest of the story is now clear to everyone. On the way, Xiao Min discovered that there might be marine spirit beasts invading the coastal area, and General Qiao Anghua went to the scene to rescue them. However, after Li Changel woke up, he found that the people around him had different appearances and physical signs. Some of them looked yellow, while others were white, brown, and black. They didn't quite understand what they said, and the tone they spoke was not the familiar Huaxia language he used to be familiar with. For this, he was extremely distressed. In his past life, Li Changel passed the CET.4 exam 3 times. Obviously, this place is not a blue star, and he needs to master a new language, which is really bald. In the following days, Li Changel made efforts to compare the behavior and speech of his servants and General Qiao's family, studying the general meaning conveyed by the tones that popped out of their mouths. Finally, someone came to teach him how to write, which made Li Changel happy. Having received artistic education and engaged in graphic design, he was able to learn the characters of the new world with ease. Under the 1.1 teaching by the teaching teacher, Li Changel finally matched the words and tones, and finally understood what everyone was saying. After being unilaterally recognized as a godson, a group of teachers came to teach him, broadening Li Changel's horizons and gaining a new understanding of the world around him. This is the continent of Oran, and the country where Li Changel is currently located is called the Gallo Empire. To the east of the Gallo Empire is the Aulai Empire, and to the west is the Lulan dynasty. To the north is the territory of the dwarves, and there is an endless glacier and snow mountain where the ice crystal and snow demon tribe inhabits. Going south, oh no, the area where Li Changel is located is the southern region, where you can already see the blue sea and sky. To the south of the southern regions is an endless ocean, filled with endless sea creatures and scattered islands. There are two tribal groups, the Day Elves and the Night Elves, on the islands. General Qiaoan was appointed by Emperor Jiaoluo Luochen and sent troops to the southern region to garrison the territory. While defending the southern region from the invasion of marine spirit beasts, efforts were made to salvage the Chaoyun shells and collect pearls to offer to the court. Due to years of offering high-quality pearls and meritorious defense of the southern region, Qiao Anguo was granted the title of Grand General of Zhennan. This is a prosperous land, and the province where Li Changel is currently located is called Dinghai Province. There are a total of 9 provinces in the country, including Dingbai Province, Husong Province, Galan Province, Progayaguaning Province, Jiansang Province, Yanxia Province, Pinglan Province, and Dinghai Province from north to south and from west to east. The capital of the Gallo Empire is located in the hinterland of Changning Province, called Yonyao City. It is the most prosperous place in politics and economy of the entire empire, with a magnificent and majestic palace. In this world called the continent of Oran, whether it is Gallo, Lulan, or Aulai, it can almost be said that the entire population on the continent is warriors. Here, strength is supreme, and everyone has a spiritual knot since birth. The spiritual knot is born on the knuckles of the palm of the hand. Most people undergo awakening rituals after the age of 5 with only 1 to 2 spiritual knots, and a very small number of people can have more than 2 spiritual knots. These people with more than 2 spiritual knots are called spiritual beings. The entire continent is surrounded by foreign tribes and spiritual beasts, and the human life circle is constantly disturbed. Spiritual beings are born in response to current events, defending the country in the long river recorded in history books, rescuing a large number of ordinary people, assisting the army, and resisting countless crazy and plundering foreign tribes and spiritual beast populations. Human beings have tamed many spiritual animal groups for their own use, such as the Qiao family behind General Qiaoan, who tamed the Thunder Leopard group. These spiritual animal groups no longer possess strong aggression, and unless the contracted host gives orders, they will not actively harm humans. The vast majority of spirit beasts are inherently cruel, crazy, bloody, and cruel. Human beings are the most delicious food for them. The territories currently under the control of the 3 major empires can be considered a paradise, without the threat of fierce spiritual beasts. There is a folk legend that spirit beasts all emerged from the dimensional cracks west of the Lulan dynasty. During the process of teaching him historical illusions, world geography, ethical principles, and moral values through waves of lectures, Li Changel gained a preliminary understanding of this unfamiliar new world, became interested in spiritual knots, and became even more interested in the species of spiritual beasts on the continent of Oran. He held the encyclopedia of spiritual beasts left to him by the teacher and read it with great interest. This book is overall very heavy, with detailed content and rich illustrations. Each type of spirit beast is accompanied by high-definition illustrations, which is very exquisite. Flipping through the book and flipping through a familiar picture, I unfolded it and carefully observed that it was General Chiao's summoned spirit beast. The thunder-swallowing leopard. The Leibao tribe was discovered in the Jialiashan Mountains of the 5 wildernesses in Galan province, and its evolutionary path was from chasing the light leopard to hunting the light leopard to swallowing the thunder leopard. It is the darling of lightning and a symbol of speed and strength. This book really has a huge amount of information, and it also marks the distribution area of the leopard tribe in the country, with a red cross indicating its location. Li Changel wandered in the ocean of knowledge, forgetting time and immersing himself in it, carefully reading the Encyclopedia of Spiritual Beasts. At this moment, Li Changel's instructors approached General Chiao one after another, requesting to meet and discuss in detail. The teaching teachers and General Chiao, who hurriedly arrived from the campus, chatted until midnight before leaving, but General Chiao let out a long sigh. "General Chiao, why don't you hire someone else? We are too inexperienced to teach young Master Qiao Bang. Why are you all doing this? Is it true that Qiao Bang's IQ is not enough to obtain the professors of all the famous teachers? Ah! Your godson is exceptionally intelligent and resourceful. Even ordinary teachers like us cannot teach young Master Qiao Bang more knowledge." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Abolition of Civil and Military Personnel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Abolition of Civil and Military Personnel. Seeing so many teachers present with surprisingly consistent expressions, Qiao Ongua's heart sank. Even fools could react and praise Qiao Bang for his talent, intelligence, and unparalleled intelligence, which was a way to pass the buck. Is Qiao Bang really an idiot? Otherwise, so many teachers refuse to continue teaching knowledge. But you are all famous teachers from Dinghai and Pinglan provinces in China. One of the older elderly people took a step forward and anxiously replied, "No, brave general, please don't hire us anymore. We really can't teach young Master Qiao Bang anymore." The old man's reply was swift and firm, and the teachers behind him nodded and gestured, making Qiao Ongua feel bitter inside. Even the well-known teachers in the 2 provinces were unable to teach him well as his grandson. Who else could teach Qiao Bang? However, the teachers were filled with inner turmoil and trembling bodies, most of whom lowered their heads and dared not look up, feeling anxious and fearful. During this year's teaching process, Qiao Bang wrote excellent handwriting and enjoyed taking notes in class. The notes were recorded quickly and the handwriting was elegant and graceful, making it difficult to tell that it was the level that a 3-year-old child should have. But when the teacher heard Chopin answer the question, he couldn't help but almost drop his eyeballs out of his eye sockets. For example, the sun that rises during the day is actually a huge star, a massive, hot gas planet. Moreover, the continent of Orlando itself is an irregular sphere, and the 2 moons in the sky are the satellites of Orlando, which are pulled by the gravitational pull of Orlando's core and can rotate or orbit around it. If that's all, at least in the eyes of the teacher, it can be seen as a child's fabrication, casual talk, and a child's nature. When Li Changel talked about historical books and made the following comments, the surprised teacher didn't dare to take Li Changel's words. Why are all 3 countries under imperial rule? This is due to the backwardness of the system, society, political power, and ideology. How can we achieve social stability and ensure that the people live and work in peace and contentment if the whole country does not develop or research technology, and the people are willing to fight and fight? Upon hearing Chopin express such a stirring evaluation of current events and historical legends, he was so frightened that his teaching staff fell to the ground. In the teacher's heart, they don't think that this statement can be figured out by a 4-year-old child. They only suspect that these statements are due to dissatisfaction with the emperor. In addition, General Qiao Jijia, the son of General Qiao Ongua, died in the palace, and Emperor Luochen sent the Qiao family to southern Xinjiang. It is likely that General Qiao's words about imperial power were spoken by him upon careful consideration. I am extremely afraid that teachers would dare to continue teaching courses. I am just a teacher who teaches and educates people, and I dare not discuss the political agenda, let alone breed rebellious thoughts. At present, we can no longer stay in this southern region. If we don't take advantage of this, how long will we wait? Under the repeated excuses from the teachers, even General Qiao did not take away the generous gifts he had prepared, and left Xiao Zhuang with oil on his soles. Xiao Angua's heart is sore. What kind of teacher should Xiao Bang find to teach his studies well? Forget it, Xiao Bang is only 4 years old, and there are still more than 2 years left until he officially enters the Junior Lingwu Academy. Now let's learn some basics first, but it will take some effort to find some teachers to come over. Since it was not possible for Xiao Bang to learn knowledge with a famous teacher, it would be great to ask his soldiers to teach him martial arts. When Qiao Angua dominated the north, he was so powerful that he would definitely become a capable general. Immediately, Dr. Cui was invited into Qiao Bang's room to have his pulse and bone examined. He pinched every bone from head to toe throughout his body. Dr. Cui's technique was not light, and he kneaded with great force, causing Xiao Bang to jump on the bed. Dr. Cui finished pinching it, as if he didn't believe in evil. He then pinched a whole set from head to toe, making Xiao Bang's mouth grimace. After the examination was completed, Dr. Cui lowered his eyelids and remained silent. Xiao Angua asked with concern, "How, does Xiao Bang have a talent for practicing martial arts?" Cui Quji shook his head and slowly spoke. Signal Xiao Angua to go out for a detailed discussion, and the two of them left the room one in front of each other and arrived at the yard. Master Xiao Bang has a slender skeleton, weak muscle fibers, a fast pulse, and particularly hard horns on his head. From various factors, it seems that Master Xiao Bang is not suitable for cultivation and may not have a talent for martial arts. At the age of 5, his spiritual knots awaken, and I think it is difficult for his current physical fitness to exceed 3 spiritual knots. What? How could Xiao Bang's physical fitness be so poor? Xiao Angua couldn't help but regret his previous decision to recognize Xiao Bang as his godson. At present, it's like this, General Qiao. Xiao Bang's foundation is still a bit weak. Why not let him go to the martial arts arena to live with the soldiers' children and exercise his physique first? Whether it is possible to use tonic diet to recuperate Zhou Bang's body at present, I'm worried that he can't persist in training as you said. With the young master's physical quality, tonic diet is not very useful now. To supplement his physical functions, it is better to train according to his current physical limits. In this way, when he is 5 years old, activate his spiritual knot and confirm his spiritual power attributes. I will prepare a whole set of tonic diet and medicinal bath materials for him to recuperate his body. After listening to Dr. Cui's convincing conclusion, Xiao Angua raised his hand and gently smoothed his beard. If that's the case, then as you said, let him go to the soldier's residence at the martial arts arena and train with the child first. In this way, Xiao Bang was arranged by Xiao Angua to camp in the Sunbao camp and trained with a group of children at the martial arts arena. Li Changel, who has been in this world for 4 years, is already in his 30s. Accompanying a group of children to practice the Qiao family's martial arts is very uncomfortable in his heart, and no matter how he fights, it is not a pleasure. Watching Xiao Bang perform his martial arts, a group of 6 to 10-year-old children began to discuss behind him, with a tone so loud that he was afraid Xiao Bang might not hear him. This useless person punches so slowly, it really embarrasses the general. If it weren't for the general recognizing him as his godson, how could this idiot stay in the Qiao family and have been eating and drinking for so many years? If I still have the face to stay in Xiao Zhuang, should I leave quickly? Li Changel remained indifferent to the disdainful mockery and wanton mockery that came from behind. He continued to wave his arms and thrust his horse step fiercely, rhythmically punching into the air. The sarcasm and ridicule of these immature little brats are not as fierce as the barrage posted by keyboard warriors in their past lives, let alone how the comments on Weibo are recklessly done. Look at how this fist technique hits the ground, what an idiot. The horse's leg and stomach are still trembling with this horse's step. Can't it be okay, Xiao Bang? Can't it be okay to go back to Xiaozhuang to wash and sleep? Be a young master who has achieved nothing. Li Changel stopped waving his arms, stood up straight, turned around to look at these little brats, and walked straight over. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Shuttle-shaped gemstones. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Shuttle-shaped gemstones. As Li Changel walked towards him, the crowd that had been bustling around Li Changel punching stopped discussing and stared intently at him getting closer. Several of the older children couldn't hold their breath, and their spiritual knots shone brightly in their hands, transforming into axes, sickles, and saws. They pressed their weapons against their chests and stood ready to prevent Xiao Bang from engaging in any extreme behavior. I saw Li Changel walking to the edge of the crowd, turning his head to look at these little brats, then turning back and continuing to move forward towards Xiaozhuang. Hey, this idiot would stare at people without daring to say a word. Maybe you're scared, or maybe Brother Qiao Junyu is amazing. When he sees you release the Xuanwu axe, he won't make a sound anymore. Treat yourself like a young master, don't even look at us in the eye, ah bah. The sound of discussion gradually faded away as we traveled back to Xiaozhuang. The two round moons in the sky gradually rise, the moon is like a silver plate, and the stars in the sky are gradually becoming clear and visible. Li Changel clenched his hands and clenched his fists. His face was ferocious, and he growled at the darkening sky. Is it a waste dim sum to cross the labor capital? Lie trough. In his past life, Li Changel was just an extremely mediocre member in the vast sea of people. Despite struggling for a long time, he still couldn't gather the down payment from Mo Du, and his girlfriend went their separate ways and no longer contacted him. However, upon arriving here, Li Changel was pleasantly surprised to find that as a traveler, his soul was much stronger than that of an ordinary person. In the continent of Oren, the soul is innate and may slightly increase in strength with age, but there is no way to cultivate the soul alone. The number of spiritual knots is closely related to the strength of the soul itself. It was precisely because Li Changel boasted about his soul's strength that after learning the knowledge taught by his teacher, he realized that he would activate many spiritual knots after the age of 5, which was incomparable to the 3 or 4 spiritual knots that had already been activated by his bloodline in this martial arts arena. But my body is indeed very cramped. What is more ironic than a mediocre person who has spent 30 years doing nothing, knowing that they have the capital to look down on others and be admired by everyone, working hard to exercise their physical fitness, but with little effect. After roaring towards the sky a few times, his throat became a bit dry, and Chopin's emotions gradually calmed down. His face once again showed the desolation of the past, but to outsiders, it looked like he was disgusted with the world. No matter how hard Li Changel works, even though he knows that the number of blood and spiritual nodes activated at the age of 5 will never be small, his weak body with a bitter shake of his head, Li Changel felt a wave of grievance in his heart. He should have been grateful for his rebirth, but so far he has achieved nothing. Feeling disheartened, Yang Shuqi arrived at the clean hall of Xiaozhuang, sitting upright in front of the dining chair, waiting for Xiaobang's return. Xiaobang is back. Go wash your hands, I'll heat up all the dishes. Yang Shuqi picked up the dishes and walked into the cafeteria. Li Changel obeyed and wiped his hands with soap horns to rinse them clean. Yang Shuqi picked up a dish and placed it on the dining table, bringing 3 bowls of rice. At this moment, Qiao Kursin also came over. Oh my, it's exhausting me. My grandfather's bloodthirsty wolf ape has too much strength, I can't even pull it. Yang Shuqi squinted her eyes and poked her hand into Qiao Kursin's hem, feeling the sweat on one hand. She smiled and said, hurry up and eat, then go take a shower. Bloodthirsty wolf apes do have great strength, but their intelligence is also limited. Use your brain more, and you can always subdue them. Yang Shuchi walked to the cafeteria again to wash her hands. Li Changle curiously asked, "Sister, what is a bloodthirsty wolf ape?" Bloodthirsty wolf ape, it's a spirit beast with a wolf head. Its forelimbs are ape arms, but its hind legs are wolf legs. It has 4 protruding fangs in its mouth, thick fur all over its body, and blood-red pupils. Its strength is really strong, and it can even walk upright, which has exhausted me. Xiao Kursen recalled the scene of fighting against the bloodthirsty wolf ape, but her heart couldn't calm down. Her voice decreased slightly, and her chopsticks stopped moving. Li Changle was quite curious in his heart. So far, he had only seen the Thunder Leopard tribe of the Sun Leopard camp, as well as the Chasing Wind Dragon Horse and the Sizing Wind Dragon Horse of the Chasing Wind camp. These 2 spiritual animal groups were both extremely fast, especially the Chasing Wind Dragon Horse, which was really dusty when running. There is also a spirit beast called the Crossing Crow, which is similar to the carrier pigeon in previous lives and can transmit messages. Now that I hear of a spirit beast whose name sounds very powerful and domineering, I can't help but feel a hint of curiosity. Yang Shuchi returned to the dining table, picked up her rice bowl, and started eating with chopsticks. The 3 of them no longer spoke at the dinner table because General Qiao Anghua had mentioned the rule of no speech when eating at the table, so everyone followed without saying a word. A table of dishes was quickly finished, and perhaps the training was quite tiring. Li Changle and Xiao Kursen had an amazing efficiency in cooking. Just as Li Changle was putting the dishes back in the cafeteria and preparing to go back to the house to wash up and read the Chronicles of the Galactic Empire, Yang Shuchi grabbed Li Changle and turned around to take a look. Yang Shuchi took out something for Li Changle. "Xiao Bang, this is the gemstone that was found by your side when you were first picked up. Your grandfather took it to test for a long time but couldn't find any reason. Since it was the gemstone that came with you, let's return it to you. Take it back and keep it safe before losing it." Looking at the shuttle-shaped gemstone in Yang Shuchi's hand, Li Changle looked up at her. "Thank you, Godmother, I will take good care of it." Take the shuttle-shaped gemstone from the palm of your hand and observe its structure while walking. I inexplicably feel that this gem fits me very well, as if it is a part of one's own body. Returning to the room, closing the doors and windows, without worrying about washing up, I sat at the table carefully flipping through the shuttle-shaped gemstones several times, each edge reflecting the color of the surrounding environment. After fiddling with it horizontally and vertically, I couldn't see why. I put the gemstone into the innermost side of the wardrobe where I stored my clothes, took out my laundry, closed the wardrobe door, and walked out of the room to take a shower. After washing up, he returned to the room and took out the shuttle-shaped gemstone again. He lay on the bed, holding the shuttle-shaped gemstone with both hands, wanting to see the refracting surface inside from a distance. However, due to not holding it firmly, the gem fell down from the palm of the hand and was about to hit the nose. The physiological reaction was to quickly close their eyes, tilt their head, and retract their arms to block it. The shuttle-shaped gemstone hit the bump on the head, and a dazzling circular light burst out from around it, bursting out between the gemstone and the raised forehead. Li Changle felt a sharp pain in his brain, his vision filled with a golden world, and a roar echoed in his ears. The whole person seemed to have epilepsy, constantly twitching, and suddenly kicked his leg, fainting. The gemstone turned into small fragments suspended on Li Changle's body, slowly fitting against his skin, emitting a colorful glow. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Unconsciousness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Unconsciousness. Li Changle wandered in the space of consciousness, his body unable to withstand the sudden energy and forced him to fall asleep. His heart was struck several times by a heavy hammer, and his eyes became blurred. Under the continuous expansion and contraction of the heart, a large amount of fresh blood flows faster than usual, surging incessantly in the body. From the outside, the skin looks like cooked shrimp with a blush. Waves of intangible and indescribable energy were impacting Li Changle's consciousness, and waves of intense pain continued to spread to his limbs and bones. Li Changle's face turned red, as if he was about to drip blood. The blood vessels on his forehead and arms floated on the surface of his body, jumping and jumping. Although he was asleep, he seemed to be lying in bed doing extremely intense exercise. The heart was like a huge gong and drum, emitting a clear and deep roar. The excruciating pain caused Li Changle's muscles to contract all over his body, and his facial features were ferocious. Boom! This sound not only emanates from Li Changle's body, but also resonates within his sea of consciousness. The disguised servants heard this sound from afar and ran over to knock on the door. They found that the doors and windows were tightly closed, and the servants reported to their mistress Yang Shuqi overnight. Upon hearing this, Yang Shuqi's heart trembled and she grabbed a coat and draped it over her body, running to Li Changle's room. Seeing Li Changle blushing all over, she was completely dumbfounded. "Mother, what do you think should be done?" the servant asked cautiously beside him. "Hurry up. Contact Mr. Chiao and Dr. Chui to come over and call General Manager Yang as well." Yang Shuqi lost her voice in panic and directly contacted the third most influential figure in the family to come over. The servants responded one after another, and a few of them went to summon the messenger. The remaining servants began to vigorously pour cold water, soak towels, and wipe Li Changle's body. While wiping his skin, the servants felt that the surface heat was not small, so they had to keep wiping, soaking, wiping, and soaking. Not long after, Qiao Anghua, Chui Qiji, and Qiao Kursan's grandfather Yang Qingfu arrived one after another. Chui Qiji stepped forward to check the pulse and observe Li Changle's physiological characteristics. He pinched the Higu acupoint at the mouth of the tiger with his fingers, and then pinched the Shixian acupoint on Li Changle's finger belly. The effect was not very obvious, so Chui Qiji continued to pinch the external acupoint on his wrist and continued to pinch the Tsuchi acupoint on his elbow. The acupoints on his palms and arms surprisingly did not work. Chui Qiji ordered his servants to gently lift Li Changle's upper body and press down on the Dazhui and Shanjing acupoints, but it still did not work. Chui Qiji reached up with his palm and pressed down on the Fengqi acupoint below the occipital bone on his neck, hoping it would work. Li Changle in front of him was still burning all over. "Dr. Chui, what is the situation with my grandson?" Yang Qingfu approached to inquire about the situation. "Yeah, Brother Chui, what's wrong with Xiao Bang's current coma? Could it be that he ate his stomach at night?" Qiao Anghua was also impatient and approached to inquire. Chui Qiji pondered for a moment, looked at the two elders, and said, "At present, I only know that Xiaobang's physical condition is not due to poisoning, nor is it due to a cold or fever, let alone the chaotic flow of spiritual power in his body." After a pause, Chui Qiji looked at everyone with thought-provoking eyes, casting his straight gaze on everyone present, and spoke his inference in a delicate and gentle tone. "His body feels like it's strengthening, and the blood flow in his body is very fast, making it clear that his bones and muscles are gradually becoming stronger." "Dr. Chui, are you sure Xiaobang is not sick?" Yang Shuqi couldn't believe it and blurted out her doubts. "In theory, that's the case. After observing for a long time, I didn't find any symptoms of illness. I saw that he was feverish all over, but it seemed like..." Feeling the gaze of all three people staring at him, Chui Qiji stopped panting heavily and continued to answer following the conversation. "It's like having to endure too much nutrition at once, and the body forcefully made Chopin's consciousness unconscious, self-repairing." Qiao Anghua and Yang Qingfu coincidentally met and were stunned by this conclusion. "Did you feed Xiaobang the genius spirit treasure?" Yang Qingfu asked. "No, I was just training soldiers on the school field and didn't plan to feed Xiaobang a genius spirit treasure at this time." "Is it difficult?" "It's that." "Law, which one are you talking about?" "What is that?" "After dinner tonight, I gave the shuttle-shaped gemstone to Chopin." "Can it be that gemstone?" What? Now, without waiting for Yang Shuqi to continue speaking, the three of them were all searching for the traces of the gemstones in the room. After searching for it, there was nothing to be found. Is it true that it was the function of that gem? So, Xiao Bang's current situation makes sense. Accompanying spirit treasures. No wonder we can't figure out this gem even after studying it. Cui Qiji pondered for a long time and said to Xiao Anhua, Yang Qingfu, and Yang Shuqi, tonight, the servants will work in 3 shifts. Let the servants come one by one to wipe Xiaobang's body and lower his surface temperature. The Master Mother will work hard tonight and help guard Xiaobang. I will go back to prepare the alchemy furnace, and when Xiaobang wakes up, you will need high-quality pills to help strengthen your body. As for General Qiao and General Yang, you should rest early. One will supervise the soldiers' training tomorrow, and the other will also manage the spirit beast garden. Don't expect me to help you manage the spirit beasts. My steel-winged giant peng cannot suppress the barbarian herd. The three of them discussed and seemed unable to come up with a better solution, so they followed Dr. Chui's advice. At the same time, within Li Changle's conscious space. In a dreamy space, Li Changle paced back and forth, with countless unknown divine beasts hovering above his head. There were dragon-shaped spiritual beasts that resembled the previous oriental dragon, as well as giant dragons with flesh wings that resembled the West. There were also spiritual beasts like birds, giant turtles, white and black fur, and giant tigers with 4 fangs. Li Changle has been shouting and running here for an unknown amount of time, but the spirit beast above his head seems to be invisible to him, constantly spinning and occasionally changing its form, from a form with flesh and hair to a skeleton, and then switching back and forth. This swirling trajectory reminded Li Changle of the wind chimes hanging from the windows of the rented house in his past life, and the skeletons of these spiritual beasts seemed to be fixed in the center of this consciousness space dome. Li Changle, who was originally hysterical and unable to control his expression, restrained his irritable emotions and held his breath to observe these spirit beasts, or their bones. Where exactly is this? Is it in my brain? Suddenly, a mechanical electronic sound echoed throughout the entire space. Successfully unlocked the Corte Galaxy native search system, searching for landing planets. Search completed, Aurora Star Galactic Empire, host, Li Changle, unlocking. Unlocking completed, optimizing genes. Enhancing cell activity. Enhancing bone density. Stimulating myofibrils. Task 1. Develop a type of weapon spirit with excellent quality or above. Task time limit. 1 year, reward. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Awakening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Awakening. A series of fluent electronic sounds echoed in the consciousness space, which reminded Li Changle of many science fiction movies he had watched in his past life. The synthesized sound was emitted from the cold machine armor. However, Li Changle didn't have time to think about these things because even though he was in a dreamy space of consciousness now, the changes in his body were still in sync with his consciousness. He was so painful that he was rolling back and forth on the ground. After hearing all the electronic music, he passed out for an unknown amount of time. The skeleton of the dome is still spinning in disorder, and each giant spirit beast skeleton is filled with a fierce aura. Although the skeleton has no vocal cord structure, it still emits its own sound. The consciousness space is extremely chaotic, with roaring sounds oscillating in this vast space. This night, Xiao Zhuang's servants could be said to have worked extremely hard. Xiao Bang lay in bed not only feeling hot all over, but also secreting foul-smelling secretions from his pores. The color was brownish and sticky, adhering to the surface of his body. The servants first started to wipe Xiao Bang's body with one hand while pinching their noses, and then came one by one with white gauze on their faces to block the smell. Yang Shuqi was also surprised. If it weren't for Xiao Bang's rapid breathing and hot skin, she would have thought that Xiao Bang had bid farewell to this beautiful world. It can be said that Xiao Zhuang worked very hard throughout the night. The servants worked in 3 shifts to wipe Xiao Bang's body. After about 5 hours, Xiao Bang finally stopped secreting and the temperature on his body gradually decreased. The servants lifted Chopin up and gently transferred him to the nearby chair. The male servants stayed behind to change Chopin's personal clothes. The mattress was already covered in secretions, leaving only a shallow humanoid silhouette when picking up Chopin. The rest of the mattress was covered in a thick layer of mud. Wow! Finally, some servants couldn't resist, their stomachs churning. The nauseating secretion smell was too strong, and they vomited directly onto the mattress, supporting their bodies to prevent them from tipping over and losing balance. Under the busy changing of bedding by the servants, Chopin was moved back to the bed. Yang Shuqi notified Dr. Cui early, and Cui Tsubing came over to take a look. She ordered the doors and windows to be tightly closed and covered with bedding. A white fish belly appeared in the eastern sky, and the earth gradually brightened up. At this moment, Chopin's breathing was no longer rapid, and the gentle breathing made everyone present feel relieved. It seemed that there was no problem anymore. I just don't know when Xiao Bang will wake up, so I asked Cui Kuji, but there was no clear answer. Xiao Anguo woke up early and arrived when Xiao Bang was helped up and wiped clean. Knowing that everything was okay, he left Xiao Zhuang and went to the school field to continue training soldiers. Xiao Bang lay quietly in bed, and Yang Shuqi was also exhausted. She lay on the table next to her for a nap. Xiao Kursin came to visit her mother and Xiao Bang, and when they were both asleep, she carefully closed the door and went to her grandfather's spiritual beast garden to continue training. At this moment, inside the martial arts arena. What about the young master Xiao Bang? He really considers himself a young master and doesn't come to train. Hey, what do you care about that second-generation ancestor? He has a godfather who is a general. Let's practice honestly. My father wants me to strive for promotion to the rank of second lieutenant when I reach adulthood. It's just that Xiao Bang doesn't like it. Every time Gu Zi punches, he never talks to us and pulls us hard, so he doesn't look at us with a straight eye. Isn't that right? On the day Xiao Bang came to the martial arts arena, he did greet us, but you all ignored him, interrupted a soldier's daughter. Don't even look at us running circles at that time, who had the time to chat with him. When he returns to the martial arts arena, I will teach him a good lesson. That's right, Brother Junyu is right. This kid just owes him a lesson. When he comes back to the martial arts arena, beat him hard. The children of several soldiers punched and opened their mouths, saying that Xiao Bang, who had been picked up, became the godson of the general. Their hearts were both envious and jealous, and dissatisfaction gradually brewing. After everyone's discussion, they constructed a common imaginary enemy, which was Xiao Bang, who did not come to the martial arts arena this morning. In the conscious space, Li Changel also woke up and ran in this space. If this space was indeed his own sea of consciousness as Li Changel had anticipated, it would be too vast. No matter how you run, the skeleton above your head moves in the direction of your run. This dreamlike space is incredibly dazzling, with no other sound except for the continuous roar of the skeleton above. Let me out. I want to go out. Li Changel roared at the skeleton, and as the shout sounded, the skeleton above no longer made any sound. The quiet space was even more permeable than the skeleton was spinning and roaring just now. No one responded. It seems that there is only one living person in this space, Li Changel. Li Changel was also tired from running and sat on the ground, looking up at the skeletons of these huge spiritual beasts. Upon closer inspection, a strange common characteristic was discovered. These skeletons all have horns on their skulls, and Li Changel instinctively touched the horns on his forehead. Isn't it? Isn't it? Will you be like the remains of the spirit beast hanging on this dome in 100 years? Am I human? Li Changel, who was frightened by this idea, felt his scalp tingling in cold sweat rising. Could it be that he was actually a spirit beast? Suddenly, in front of Li Changel, who was already pondering, a large white area suddenly appeared on his face, and the dreamlike space could no longer be seen in his sight. The skeleton of the spirit beast was no longer clear and gradually blurred. "Mother, wake up, Master Xiaobang's finger has moved. It should be about to wake up." A maid shook Yang Shuqi up from above. Yang Shuqi rubbed her eyes and sat up straight, opening her eyes to look in Xiaobang's direction. As the servant said, Xiaobang was working hard to open his sleepy eyes, and the bright light was dazzling. He immediately lifted his arm to block the light. Upon seeing this, Yang Shuqi immediately stood up and pulled up the curtains, which made Xiaobang feel better. "Xiaobang, are you awake? How are you? Is there any discomfort in your body?" Yang Shuqi asked with concern, grabbing Xiaobang's hand. Xiaobang raised his eyebrows and felt his body, feeling as if there was no discomfort, even full of strength. "I feel okay, it's just a little dizzy. I'm scared to death." It's okay, it's okay. Last night, Dr. Cui, your grandfather and grandfather came to see you. What happened to you last night?" At that moment, Xiaobang endured dizziness and told Yang Shuqi about the situation where the shuttle-shaped gemstone was not firmly held and hit her forehead. After speaking, he continued to search for the trace of the shuttle-shaped gemstone around. "Don't look for it, I guess the gemstone was meant to accompany you and has already been absorbed by you. Last night, you secreted a lot of disgusting substances, and you should thank your servants well when you turn around. They took care of you all night in 3 shifts for you." Cui Qiji walked out of the door, probably someone called him over. "Hello Dr. Cui." Xiaobang also knew that last night must have caused a lot of trouble for everyone. He was unconscious and unaware of these things, but when he woke up and found out the situation, he should treat his servants and relatives who took care of him politely and politely. Cui Qiji said, "Madam, please step aside and I will check Xiaobang's health." End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Rebirth and Transformation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Rebirth and Transformation. Yang Shuqi dared not show any signs of neglect and quickly stood up to make room for Dr. Cui, as Xiaobang had just woken up and was still dizzy, clearly not feeling well. Cui Qiji suspended his hands above Xiaobang's body, constantly blending warm and soothing spiritual energy, covering Xiaobang's body with a thick layer. There were 4 spiritual knots in each hand that flickered incessantly, emitting a mint-like green light. Cui Qiji silently recited in his heart, "Peach Blossom Creek, dancing among flowers, chanting fluttering with snow and drums all over the sky." His spiritual power began to pour out in large quantities, like a surging river flowing continuously on Xiaobang's body, gradually forming a closed loop and flowing on its own. Cui Qiji removed the spiritual power flowing from his fingertips and allowed it to pour out on the surface of Xiaobang's body. His right index and middle fingers were placed together, drawing in front of him. His pupils lit up with a green glow, and he carefully observed Xiaobang's physical condition. Cui Qiji's expression went from confusion to doubt, and then to amazement, leaving Yang Shuqi and her servants puzzled. After about 3 minutes, Yang Shuqi couldn't help but approach and ask, "Dr. Cui, how is Xiaobang's body? What hidden illness is there?" Cui Qiji raised his eyebrows directly, with an extremely rich expression. He opened his mouth and said, "Prepare to cross the difficult crows at both ends. Xiaobang's physical condition should be notified to General Qiao and General Yang as soon as possible." Yang Shuqi immediately instructed her servants to contact the patrol team and draw 2 soldiers who had contracted to cross the Raven to come and listen to the dispatch. She handed over her tokens to the servants and watched them go away. Yang Shuqi quickly asked, "Dr. Cui, don't be too concerned. How is Xiaobang's body now? Is it good or bad?" Cui Qiji smiled indifferently and said, "Of course it's good, it can't be any better. He's just a martial arts genius." Rao was stirred up by a teasing remark from Dr. Cui, and Yang Shuqi didn't realize what was going on. Obviously, she didn't know about the conversation between Dr. Cui and General Qiao. Since Dr. Cui has agreed, then Xiao Bang's health is not a big deal. Xiao Tao, instruct the 2 male servants to lift my silver horn glass tree. Xiao Bang is currently showing signs of dizziness, probably due to excessive use of mental energy. Lifting it up and letting it go will help clear his altar. Cui Qiji instructed Xiao Tao, the maid who took care of him, to do something. Yes, Lord Cui, let's go move it now. Xiao Tao was very witty and ordered the other 2 male servants to bring the silver horn glass tree from the Go-Dan Hall. In no time, 2 patrol guards arrived at the scene. Cui Qiji ordered them to summon the crossing crow and verbally explained the current situation of Xiao Bang for half a minute. Xiao Anghua and Yang Qingfu were asked to come to Qiaozhuang in the evening. The 2 crossing crows received a message and quickly flew in different directions. The patrol guards also left Qiaozhuang to continue patrolling. Despite feeling dizzy and thirsty, Chopin kept observing. Just now, the soldier summoned the crossing crow, which reminded him of the depiction of this spirit beast in the Encyclopedia of Spirit Beasts. The crossing crow, a fire attribute bird and spirit beast, can accurately record the tone and speed of the information transmitter. It can record information within 45 seconds and can control the crossing crow to fly to the destination to transmit information. The evolutionary path is the crossing crow. Jirui crow, which is said to bring good luck to the owner. In Xiao Bang's opinion, this is just a flying V-letter. There is no good contract, and there aren't many people in this world developing technology, otherwise this spirit beast might be a mascot. In the future, Xiao Bang will definitely not contract this type of spiritual beast by activating his bloodline to generate spiritual knots. However, he has heard from his servants that once a spiritual knot contracts with a soldier spirit, spiritual beast, spiritual plant, or spiritual insect, it cannot be contracted again. If it occupies the position of a spiritual knot, it can only be unlocked through self-destructive cultivation. But if done in this way, one's own cultivation cannot be improved. Even if the spiritual knot can be recontracted with other soldiers, spirits, beasts, plants, and insects, it cannot compensate for the loss of cultivation, and one cannot continue to cultivate and improve oneself in the future. This kind of thankless behavior, of course, cannot easily violate the contract. Thinking about it, Chopin's head felt a faint pain again. It seemed like he was using his brain too much, so it was better to rest. In the midst of constant headaches, the sky gradually darkened. Under the care of Yang Shuqi and her attendants, Xiao Anghua and Yang Qingfu came to visit Xiao Bang in the evening. Upon hearing that the 2 adults had arrived, Cui Qiji also set off. Cui Shini, listen to Shuqi's statement that Xiao Bang is no longer in a serious condition. Why is he still unconscious now? Xiao Anghua was anxious in his heart, and his soldiers were somewhat absent-minded during the training during the day. He instructed Xiao Wei and Xiao Min to rush back to Qiaozhuang early, but if they were concerned, it would be chaotic. Cui Qiji stroked his beard and nodded slightly, saying, based on my years of diagnostic experience, it seems that Xiao Bang's body has undergone significant changes in a short period of time, leading to fluctuations in his consciousness. He should not wake up until his consciousness fully adapts to his body. We can wait for Xiao Bang to wake up, and it should not take many days. Xiao Anghua and Yang Qingfu met each other for the first time. Yang Qingfu didn't wait for Xiao Anghua's response and directly asked the question in his heart. Dr. Cui, do you still have those shuttle-shaped gemstones? This thing is really magical. I remember a while ago, Xiao Bang's body and bones were not as good as they are now, right? This shuttle-shaped gemstone should have been left by Xiao Bang's birth mother, and there are countless wonders in the world. Look at the little doll Feng Muyang found in the Premier Mountains, the one named Feng Qinglai. Doesn't it have a companion spirit beast? Your old boss even sent someone to come and verify. It's a mutated eagle with black feathers all over its body, and a golden chest feather in the shape of an inverted fan in the center of its chest, which is as hard as iron. I think both Qiao Bang and Feng Qinglai were born anomalies and abandoned. Currently, it seems that this shuttle-shaped gemstone has brought benefits to Qiao Bang without any adverse reactions. This is simply a rebirth. Qiao Anghua looked at Cui Tsubing and murmured, "It's so good, so good. I have no grandchildren under my knee, and it's not realistic for the Qiao family to rely on their granddaughter Qiao Kursen to continue for 100 years. Sooner or later, they will marry someone else. With Qiao Bang, they can support our Qiao family for more than 100 years." Yang Chengfu looked disdainful and spat, throwing his head away. "You're stupid, just hire a son-in-law. If the child's surname is Qiao, it will solve the problem of family reproduction. The idea of valuing sons over daughters is unacceptable. You will argue, but Kursen will reach adulthood in a few years. At that time, there is no consensus on whether to bring the person she likes home or marry them off. We can only keep a close eye on it, and besides, our daughter-in-law hasn't shown much attitude yet." Yang Shuqi saw the two elderly people delving further and further into the topic, so she quickly stopped and turned to inquire about what Dr. Cui should do regarding Qiao Bang's physical condition. Cui Chu succinctly explained that Qiao Bang now needs to rest and maintain consciousness as much as possible, which is of great benefit to awakening. So General Qiao ordered his servants to observe the situation of Qiao Bang at regular and designated times, and report any unexpected situations as soon as possible. He waved his hand and asked General Yang, Dr. Cui, and Lady Yang to leave the room together. Although Chopin had a headache, he could hear the conversation in the room clearly. Could this shuttle-shaped gemstone really be his companion spirit stone? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. What is a spiritual knot? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 10. 3 days of separation from scholars. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. 3 days of separation from scholars. Qiao Anghua suddenly realized that Qiao Bang was not even 5 years old, and it was normal not to know these truths. It seems that his daughter-in-law and servants have not talked to Qiao Bang about these things. Even though I am getting older, I never expected to share these basic truths. Sitting on the chair, Qiao Anghua smiled and slowly said, "Soldier spirits are a carrier of souls in countless worlds. They are like humans and spiritual beasts, and they are independent entities. Our ancestors have been studying for generations without fully understanding how soldier spirits were formed. However, they can be found in unexplored wilderness, hills, streams, and sand dunes. These soldier spirits can be carried away, but to truly use them, they must be compatible with them. Every soldier spirit has its own personality, and the owner must share it in order to engrave the outline of the soldier spirit on the soul. Without resonance, it is impossible. Summon the spirit of soldiers to engage in battle. Once the spirit is engraved on the soul, even if it is shattered, it can quickly regroup and be used by oneself." Cui Kyuji on the side also responded with a voice. Not everyone needs to absorb weapon spirits. For example, my Dan sect background leans towards fire attributes and affinity. In order to not waste limited spiritual space, we Dan masters are not suitable for weapon spirits. However, your grandfather is different. He used to be the head of the Jiansang sect, and the divine weapon library of Jiansang sect is full of rare weapon spirits, with his unique skills all revolving around weapon spirits. After listening to it, Qiao Bang was quite shocked. It seemed that the role of the weapon spirit was not small, and with exquisite techniques, it should be able to greatly demonstrate its own strength. Recalling the sound my system had made in the consciousness space, wanting to form a weapon spirit with excellent quality or above, within a year, I quickly asked. "Grandpa, when can I have a military spirit?" Qiao Anghua remained dumbfounded and looked at Qiao Bang seriously, realizing that his gaze was firm and not like a joke. He lightly tapped his knee with his fingers, silently making up his mind. Since you have the intention to form a weapon spirit, when you have more than 10 days of free time after the end of the 10,000 soldiers exercise, I will take you to the weapon warehouse to search for high-quality weapon spirits. However, if you are interested, it will be of no use. You don't have any spiritual knots around you yet. Only when you are 5 years old and activate the hidden spiritual veins in your body, can you create a spiritual knot, successfully form it, and absorb it into your body. After receiving a positive response from Xiao Anghua, Xiao Bang no longer rushed and nodded forcefully. You don't have to be anxious, even if you have a crush on the weapon spirit, it's not enough to have a spiritual knot to form one. If you don't match its personality, even if you carry it away and hug it to sleep every day, it's still you. After a while, I'll take you to choose the weapon spirit, and you can feel whether it fits from the bottom of your heart. As soon as Xiao Anghua finished speaking, Cui Qiji couldn't wait to speak up. That's why Kurson activated 8 spiritual knots at the age of 5 and also selected his desired weapon spirit. The sea-breaking divine whip. It can truly absorb and enter the body, but it can only be achieved at the age of 8. What? Isn't it a stroke of luck for me to choose Bingling? What is the name of the system that only gives me 1 year? How can I achieve the formation of a military spirit within 1 year? Xiao Anghua stood up and walked over to pat Xiao Bang's shoulder. Since your body is doing well, why don't you go to the martial arts arena to practice the Xiao family's martial arts after breakfast? It's just a good time to adapt to the modified body. How do you feel, Dr. Cui? Cui Qiji also leaned forward and grabbed Xiao Bang's hand to feel his pulse. After sensing something, he nodded at Xiao Anghua, indicating that Xiao Bang's body was no longer seriously affected and he could engage in vigorous exercise. Okay Grandpa, I'll go later. Thank you to Dr. Cui for taking care of me. Xiao Bang thanked him and went to the table to start eating. Thank me for what I'm doing. If you want to thank me, thank you Godmother. I've been worried about you a lot. Xiao Bang replied to Cui Tsubing while chewing on his food, but his mind was still thinking about how the system could give him a 1-year deadline to achieve this. Xiao Anghua and Cui Qiji saw that Xiao Bang was so sensible that he could eat independently without the help of servants, so they left the room and went to work separately. After breakfast, Xiao Bang arrived at the martial arts arena and saw soldiers with introductions on their heads. Good guy, did I configure a system or accidentally entered the online game? Most soldiers have similar configurations, with contracts for hunting light thunder leopards or swallowing thunder leopards, as well as contracts for hunting wind dragon horses or chasing wind dragon horses. The qualifications of soldiers are not the same, and most soldiers only have 4-star or 5-star spiritual knots. It is rare for soldiers who encounter a 6-star spiritual knot to contract a rare spirit beast. Lingjie 6. Gluttonous rhinoceros. This actually piqued Chopin's curiosity. After all, this kind of spirit beast didn't appear in the Encyclopedia of Spirit Beasts. You should ask Grandpa carefully when you have time. It took about 10 minutes to adapt to this novel feeling, and the person in front of me with cultivation talent had introductions on their heads. If it weren't for the 4 years of life experience, Chopin might have really thought he had entered the online game. Stand firm, take a horse stance, extend your arms forward, wave your arms, and fiercely strike the air with your fists. This time waving his fist, Chopin felt very comfortable. He swung his fist very quickly, and his horse stance was not affected at all. His calf muscles were completely different from before. The most important thing is endurance. Jobin feels that he can maintain his Zama stance and play for 1 or 2 hours without any problem. Am I really different from before? Have I finally become stronger? Xiao Bang, who was ecstatic in his heart, remained calm and did not show any signs of joy. He continued to practice his boxing skills. I feel like I have infinite strength to exert all over my body, and my physique is really different from before. Taking advantage of this excitement, Xiao Bang began practicing the Qiao family's martial arts. Just as Xiao Bang was focused on practicing martial arts, a group of children from afar walked over, whispering in excitement. Xiao Bang heard movements less than 10 meters away from these children and listened attentively, but continued to fight. Quickly, the group of children gathered around Chopin and opened their mouths to the first child, who seemed to be quite ungrateful. "Oh, isn't this General Xiao's godson Xiao Bang? How many days have you rested and felt comfortable? Do you need guidance from a few brothers? Little brat, why pretend to be cold and aloof? Brother Xiao Junyu has a heart to teach you how to fight, so he looks up to you. Come and accept Brother Junyu's guidance." Xiao Bang listened without any movement and continued to punch. His fists went out hunting with a rhythmic sound. "Xiao Bang, don't toast or refuse to drink. Either accept Xiao Junyu's guidance, or let's teach you a lesson together." The other fat-headed and eared child spoke clearly, revealing his true thoughts. After listening to the bold and provocative words of the chubby boy, Xiao Bang closed his fist and stood up straight, with a slight curve at the corner of his mouth. As early as this group of children walked over, Xiao Bang adjusted his direction and faced them. He had already browsed through the introduction above their heads. The most talented of these 5 children was the one named Xiao Junyu, who had a 6-star spiritual knot. He had activated a spiritual knot position and formed a high-quality weapon spirit Xuanwu axe. The other 4 children, except for the skinny child who spoke first and had the talent of a 4-star spiritual knot, all 3 of them only had the qualification of a 3-star spiritual knot. Although Xiao Bang is not sure how many spiritual knots he can activate, he is really sorry for not tidying up these little kids who trouble him every day. He has just significantly improved his physical fitness. "You guys are so idle that you're picking on me, but my fists are hot. It's okay to beat you up, isn't it?" Chopin gave a playful smile and started warming up with his fists and palms. "What? Where did you get the courage, kid? Are you planning to hit the 5 of us one by one?" End of this chapter.